Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. Today, I got a special video planned for you all. Today, we are going to be talking about buying and selling treasured or untreasured antiques and collectibles in the overall trade, and what are the pros and cons of utilizing a site like eBay versus that of an established auction house that has an online presence. So we're looking at the pros and cons of buying and selling on a site like eBay versus that of Heritage Auctions or Christie's or Cowan's or Swan Auctions, or even if we look at Stacks and Bowers, if we look at Certified Link, if we look at Hakes, any other auction platform that is well known throughout the antiques and collectibles trade, has an online presence, and is one that collectors are well aware of in the trade. Now, to be fair, before we go any further, as a consultant in the trade, it is my duty to tell you this. There are tons of established high-profile auction houses with an online presence that are out there that most of you have never even heard of. For instance, if you don't collect glass bottles, chances are you probably never would have heard of Glasswork Auctions or American Bottle Auctions. If you don't collect Tiffany glass or pottery or art glass in general, there's a chance you probably never heard of Cowan's. Yet a lot of these auction houses rank right up there with Heritage or Comic Link or even Hakes. They may not be as large as Heritage, let's be honest. Heritage is one of the largest collectible auctioneers in existence at present time, but they still have an impact on the market because sophisticated collectors, investors, and speculators know of the existence of that auction house if they are going after the specialty collectible that they service the market for. So you have to understand that just because you may not have heard of that particular auction company before, it doesn't mean that that auction company is not high profile and is not established. Now, on the flip side of that, I know that certain auction houses are regional. So for instance, you might live in New York, you might live in California, you might live in London in the United Kingdom, and there are some auction companies that operate in those states or those countries or those locations that do have a presence in the overall antiques and collectibles trade, but they are not on par with Heritage or Comic Link or Hakes or Cowan's or Swan Auction Galleries. So it kind of works both ways. You really have to know how to analyze the auction house that you are thinking of consigning your items to. Now, we are not going to cover that in this particular video. What we are really doing in this video is to analyze from a buying and selling perspective when it's best to use eBay, when eBay is going to work against you, when it's best to use a high-profile established auction house, and what are the cons of utilizing a high-profile auction house in the trade. So without further ado, I have my trusty MacBook Pro here. We're going to go over this list in great detail. So if you can't read everything I have written on this poster board, don't worry about it. I'm going to go over it in depth. The poster board, along with what's on my MacBook Pro, provides an outline so I don't veer off course, and so this doesn't become a 1 hour long video, because nobody wants to sit here and listen to Sean talk for an hour long about nothing. So we're going to stay focused, and we're going to first talk about buying and selling, the pros of using eBay. Now, eBay is a complete do-it-yourself platform. You are 100% in control, whether you are a buyer and or a seller. Anyone who is able to register an account can buy and sell on eBay. This means you get the speculators, the dealers, the sophisticated investors. You get the Timmies, the Kimmies, the Poindexters, the idiots, and the scam artists as well. So pretty much almost anybody can operate on eBay with few exceptions, whether they're buying or selling. So you must protect yourself. You can find bargains as a buyer if you know how to use the platform and if you know where to look. Sometimes a little Timmy will come on eBay. They will not know what they have, and maybe they inherited a rare collection of antiques from their grandparents. And they're listing them on eBay for well below market equilibrium price. On the flip side, you may have a Timmy that also is starting to list video games. He doesn't understand what some of the items are worth. He lists them under value. So you have a lot of opportunities to make money on eBay if you are a patient, sophisticated buyer. But it does require a lot of work and a lot of patience. Remember, guys, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And that is 100% true in the antiques and collectibles trade. Take it from a consultant. Trust me. Next, there's lower fees on eBay overall when we compare eBay's fee structure to that of a high-profile auction company. So just in black and white, just from looking at the fee structure, without any type of negotiation, without any type of compromise, especially if we're dealing with a high-profile auction house, eBay fees are typically lower. eBay is also good for low-value, unestablished collectibles. If you collect modern era Magic the Gathering cards, if you collect modern era Pokemon cards, if you collect even modern era video games that are ungraded, you can easily flip them on eBay. If you list them with a buy it now and you list them at market equilibrium price, you can even sell them fairly quickly. You take that same batch of ungraded modern era Pokemon cards and you call up Heritage, Heritage is probably going to laugh at you. They're not going to want to take the consignment of modern era, loose, ungraded Pokemon cards. There's just not enough value there for them to deem it worth the time. We're going to talk about that when we start talking about the pros and cons of high-profile auction houses. Now, as I've already stated, items can sell very quickly on eBay, especially if you list with a buy it now. You're set up with either managed payments, whatever that system is, or PayPal. The buyer can pay you immediately. You can ship the item off, and pretty much you can both complete the transaction within a few days, in all honesty. And that includes shipping. That includes getting payment. You can list items of any value. There are no lot limits on eBay. That means if you have a Matchbox car that's worth $5, somebody's willing to pay you that $5 and pay shipping for that particular item, you can sell it with ease right on eBay. That's why if you search eBay, you'll see a lot of 99-cent listings, 99-cent auctions. Even I've already come across 99 cents with a buy it now, provided you pay shipping. So that does happen too. There's a lot of low value items on eBay. Listings on eBay, if you are a seller, you can also set a floor of value for certain items. Meaning, if you have a Nintendo 3DS game that you think is worth $60, you can list it for $59.99 with a buy it now, and you can pretty much wait for someone to click the buy it now on that particular item. You don't have to list it on auction. You don't have to agree to sell it for a lower price if you don't want to. Again, it comes back to the fact that it is a full do-it-yourself platform and you are 100% in control, whether you realize it or not. So now, let's talk about the cons of buying and selling on eBay. Well, for one, it's very easy to get scammed, especially as a seller. Let's be realistic here. Every Timmy, Kimmy, Poindexter, scam artist, and idiot, along with every credible dealer, speculator, and collector and investor that you want to deal with, is all operating on eBay at any given time. If you don't know how to protect yourself on eBay, you can easily get taken advantage of. This happens with a lot of new sellers almost all the time. I have people that come to me with horror stories, and I try to give them advice on how best to protect themselves. You also have to do all the work. You pretty much handle all issues, packing, shipping, communications with the buyer. Everything is your responsibility as a seller. All the buyer has to do is click the buy it now button or click the bid button, provided they win the auction. They pay you. The seller does all the work to get the item to them. High value items rarely sell on eBay for record highs when compared to established auction houses with an online presence. Now, there are exceptions to this rule, guys, and let me explain it to you. If you are selling items that are established, and what I mean by that is certain vintage comic books, certain vintage sports cards, coins, currency that are on the mature side of the antiques and collectibles trade. If those items are valued at $1,000 or more, you are most likely, in a lot of cases, better off consigning them to a high-profile established auction house rather than listing them on eBay. Now, it is true, if you have something like Magic the Gathering cards, Pokemon cards, even graded video games in certain instances, if they're part of a speculative collecting category, one that is not yet established, or maybe one where very few auction houses will take those particular items at present time, like if we look at graded video games. Graded video games, if you're going to assign them right now to auction, you pretty much have two choices: certified link or heritage auctions. Well, some of you, maybe you would rather control the price that you're going to get for your graded video game and list it on eBay. You can do that, but just understand, in those markets, you are still taking a risk. Overall, high-value items rarely sell for a record high on eBay when compared to high-profile auction sites. There are exceptions. There are certain video games, there are certain Pokemon cards, there are certain Magic the Gathering cards that all went through eBay that did sell for a record price, especially when we include the fact that PWCC operates on eBay. That's very important to note, because when you're doing business with PWCC, you don't have to worry about dealing with a Timmy, a Kimmy, or a Poindexter, or a scam artist, or an idiot. PWCC is very reputable, and they pretty much will handle all your listing and all your payment information through that of eBay. That is an exception to this rule. Please understand that. By doing this list, I am mainly talking about you as a buyer or seller buying something or selling something through eBay yourself. Okay? So please understand that. Another con that you have to deal with when you go through eBay is the fact that if there is a dispute, meaning you sold something, you listed it properly, everything you did with that listing was 100% accurate. If there is a dispute, more than likely, in a lot of cases, 80% of the time or more, eBay will side with the buyer. Now, luckily, in most cases, you will get the item back, but there have been instances where people do get scammed and they're out of the money and they're out of the item. This is why, when we get to the end of this list, you're going to see why I tell you guys eBay is generally good for common collectibles that are valued at less than $1,000 a piece. In my opinion, it is too risky to sell most collectibles, most antiques, most pieces of art on eBay if they are valued at $1,000 or more, with few exceptions. Now, it is also very easy to have a negative experience on eBay simply because you are dealing, in certain instances, with Timmys, Kimmys, and Poindexters. And that goes from both the buying and the selling angle. For instance, do an eBay search of terms like rare and or mint and let me know how many listings you get. Do you really think all those items that are labeled as quote-unquote mint by a lot of those sellers are really actually 100% in mint condition? In most cases, they are not, because the seller does not understand the antiques and collectibles trade. He has a biased opinion of the item he is selling because there's no third party that represents both the buyer and a seller. This is what we're going to talk about when we talk about the pros and the cons of high-profile auction houses. So just to review, in my assessment, yes, eBay is great for lower valued antiques, collectibles, items where you can set a quick floor, you hit the market equilibrium price, somebody clicks to buy it now, you get paid today, they get the item in a couple of days after you pack it and ship it to them. That's what eBay's great for. It is also good for items valued at $1,000 or less. I do not like taking unnecessary risks in the antiques and collectibles trade. And a lot of you guys out there that are selling $10, $15, $20,000 on eBay. Why are you taking that much risk? Now, in certain instances, I get it. You're going to have to, especially if the items are more speculative than established or mature when we talk about collectible markets. But if you are listing something like a rare coin or a piece of currency or even certain vintage comic books, why would you list an item like that on eBay? It just blows my mind. Please set up a consulting email or call with me, and I will guide you properly how to limit your risk and make the most money in these markets. It's what I do day in, day out. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the pros and cons of going through a high-profile established auction house in the trade. First of all, and I really hate to bring this to the attention of a lot of Timmys, Kimmys, and Poindexters out there, obviously, if you're someone like me, or if you're someone even above me, like if you have a lot of money invested in antiques, collectibles, you have a high-profile collection, whether it's coins, currency, comic books, antiques, artwork, antiquities, whatever it is. Obviously, the auction house that you're dealing with, in most cases, in order to get you as a customer, as a client that consigns to their auction house, they will give you a favorable rate for that whole high-profile item and or collection that you have, provided you go through them. Now, this works to your advantage for those of you that are investing in coins, currency, comic books, certain antiques, items of that nature, where there's a lot of auction houses that are competing for some of those items, especially if they're third-party graded. You can really make a favorable consignment contract for yourself if you know how to play this game and you know what you're doing. On the other side of the equation, and I said this before, if you guys remember the video that I did where I compared the pros and cons of investing in antiques versus collectibles, for some of you that go after esoteric but highly valuable and historic antiques, you will run into resistance in this regard because a lot of auction companies that cater to the antique side of the trade, they pretty much control the trade with an iron fist. And pretty much they can tell you, good luck consigning that to another auction house. We're pretty much top dogs in that market. And you're going to have to bite the bullet and you're going to have to pay an increased consignment rate to consign that particular item. Now, another thing that auction houses do very well, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. They have a known presence in the trade and online. As a consultant in the trade, I can tell you firsthand, I am on a ton of email lists where everybody from Morphe's auctions to Swan auction galleries to Heritage auctions to Comic Link to Certified Link, they all send me their emails whenever they have an item that they're putting up or they want to promote. This is very important. A lot of my high-profile clients like that because they don't have time to spend all day on eBay searching for some of these items or even logging on to some of these auction houses and looking for these particular items. They like that they get that email notification that tells them, hey, within the next couple of months, we're going to be having a high-profile coin auction. Here's some of the highlights of that auction. It's incredible in that regard. The auction house also does all the work and deals with issues and the damn Timmys, Kimmys, and Poindexters. Now, one thing that high-profile auction companies do great is they weed out the Timmys, Kimmys, and Poindexters if there is an issue. Meaning, if you're somebody who's coming in the antiques and collectibles trade and you really don't know your proverbial ass from the hole in the ground, but you want to call yourself a sophisticated investor and your name's Timmy S. Poindexter, and you log on to one of these high-profile sites, I'm not going to use a name here, and you do something stupid, you bid an item, you get the item, but you didn't know what you were bidding on, and you try to return that item, the auction company, if they accept the return and they don't charge you a fee for that, they're going to most likely ban you from bidding on auctions that they have going forward. This is a very good thing. Auction companies have a reputation to maintain, and they have a fiduciary responsibility, which is another word for a financial responsibility, to their consigners and to a lesser extent, their buyers. So as a result, they automatically weed out the troublemaking Timmys, Kimmys, and Poindexters on a regular basis. Now, another great thing. They, again, an auction house, handles all the packing, shipping, and items are insured the moment they reach that facility. So if you're a consignor, you consign a high profile or high valuable comic or coin collection with heritage. The minute they get that item at their facility and they verify the contents, you are already insured in case anything happens to that collection while they are in ownership and control of it. This is very important, and this is something that I get asked about a lot as a consultant in the trade. Now, it is true, if you are consigning anything to an auction company, you are 100% responsible to get it there intact. So there is some risk if you are sending it through mail or UPS or FedEx, but once the auction company gets it, they are 100% responsible for that. Another thing, and I kind of alluded to this, auction houses have a vast network of known buyers, collectors, dealers, and investors at any given time. They also are great for consigning most third-party graded collectibles, especially if those collectibles belong in the established and mature sides of the antiques and collectibles trade. So if we're looking at certain vintage comic books, if we're looking at certain vintage sports cards, obviously high-profile coins, pieces of currency, all those particular items do very well at established auction houses on average. Now, there's also a high credibility in the trade that these auction houses have. And I already alluded to that. There's also ultra low risk for both buyers and sellers. Let's be honest. None of the high profile auction sites are looking to rip you off if you are a bidder or if you are a buyer in any of their auctions. You're going to get what is advertised, what is shown in the picture. Same thing's true if you're a consignor. I have never had somebody dealing with a major high-profile auction company that comes to me and says, Sean, you know, I sent XYZ auction company 12 coins to consign. They claim they only got 10 or 11. I've never had that happen. Most of these companies make so much money. And again, this is going to be the subject of another video. If you want to get rich in the antiques and collectibles trade, let me let you in on a little secret. Become an auctioneer and learn business economics and finance, and also have a love of antiques and collectibles, and the sky's the limit. I'm going to do a video on that. So rest assured, there's going to be a video on that. But that is 100% true. When you deal with established auction houses, 100% credibility in most cases. I'm not saying you're never going to have an issue. There are certain issues that do arise. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. But overall, the auction house is going to take care of you. Now, what are the cons of going through a high-profile established auction house with an online presence? Well, you can have very high fees depending on the item and the venue. Now, if you're a little Timmy, if you're a Kimmy, you're a Poindexter, and let's say that your prized possession is one $2,000 comic book, and you don't have anything else in your collection that is equally as valuable as that $2,000 comic book, and you come to me and you go, Sean, I really want to consign this comic book to XYZ auction company. I will tell you if it's wise to consign it to that auction company, because in certain instances, certain auction companies, even if they are high profile and even if they're established, they're better to go through than others for certain items, even if you're dealing with similar collectibles, meaning comic books, coins, currency. If you just have one $2,000 comic book, auction companies are not going to fight to get your business. I hate to say that. It's not going to happen. They're going after the people that have like six-figure collections, items that are really valuable, or people that collect across multiple categories. So if you're someone like me that collects comic books, coins, currency, and I call up one of these auction companies that cater to all those markets and I say, hey, I'm looking to consign my collection, they're going to get back to me as soon as possible, and they're really going to let me negotiate a favorable rate in this assessment because they want to get my items. Now, another thing that we got to talk about, you notice when we talked about eBay, you can get paid almost instantly on eBay. If somebody clicks to buy it now on your particular item, you get paid literally as soon as eBay makes the payout through managed payments. Or if you're still able to accept PayPal on eBay, you're going to get paid almost instantly. When it comes to a high-profile auction company, you must understand that usually they have a several-month leadway just to get your items consigned to the current high-profile auction that they are starting to put together and advertise. And then after that auction, it is going to take months for them to cut a check. Usually it's anywhere from 30 to 60 days after the auction goes off for you to get paid as a consignor. That is very important to note because that is opposite than usually what happens on eBay, because on eBay, you're 100% in control. Another con we have when we talk about dealing with auction houses is if you're a buyer and you log on to a lot of these auction houses, and again, I'm not going to name them, most cases, there is a buyer's premium and or a buyer's fee that has to be accounted for. So if you're a little Timmy, you're a little Kimmy, you're a little Poindexter, and you log on to some of these auction companies that have a 20-25% buyer's premium, and you think, hey, I'm going to bid on this $1,000 item. It's all I have in my budget, and the auction goes off and you win it for $1,000. Guess what? You're going to get an invoice not only for $1,000, but for another, if they have a 25% buyer's premium, $1,250. Plus, you're going to possibly have to pay shipping, handling, and sales tax on that. So all that has to be accounted for in your pre-bid assessment if you are bidding on items on established auction houses in the trade that have buyer's premiums. Another thing, and this is something we got to talk about, a lot of high-profile auction companies have lot minimums. What that means is if you only have an item worth $300 or $400 and the lot minimum for that particular auction or that auction company is $1,000, they're not going to take those items. I know Heritage Auctions, they have signature comic, signature coin sales. They require a minimum lot number for most of those type of auctions. And it may be $1,000. In some cases, I have seen it when we talk about art, $5,000. In other cases, I do know auction companies like Christie's and Sotheby's will sometimes, for some of their high-profile art sales, have a $100,000 lot limit. That means each item that you are consigning to them has to be worth a minimum of $100,000, guys. So you got to be careful as to what auction company you're using, as to what auction company you are wanting to use in that situation. Next, you have to understand that high-profile auction houses can place limits on what items they accept and what they will take. This is very important because a lot of you guys come to me as a consultant. You say, Sean, I got this 3,000-piece collection of toys, comic books, video games, coins, currency, and I know I have a lot of valuable items in this collection, but I'm not willing to split the collection up. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you go to a high-profile established auction company, they may not take all of your items. They may tell you, hey, we're only taking the top 20% or the top 30%. I've seen this happen. I've seen clients of mine get extremely upset and emotional over this. You cannot. Auction companies are in the business to promote items and make money. They do not want to create more work for themselves. So you got to be aware of how this game is played. Also, auction houses specialize in certain items. This can be confusing to a lot of newbies, a lot of Timmies, a lot of Kimmies, and a lot of Poindexters. Just because you have a choice between auction company A and auction company B, and they both accept the consignment of coins, does not mean that A may be right for your collection, or in certain cases, auction company B may be right for your collection. You need to know the ins and outs as to what these auction companies are looking for and what they promote. For instance, if we talk rare coins, there are certain auction companies that deal with rare coins that only want coins valued at $10,000 or more a piece. Now, Heritage pretty much likes, if you want to consign to their signature auctions, coins that are valued at $1,000 or more a piece. So you have to know what you have before you contact certain auction companies in the trade, because they may honestly end up laughing at you depending on what you're trying to consign. Another thing, auction houses can charge hidden fees. Not going to go into it in this video. I will be doing another video that's going to be very controversial on this particular topic. There can be hidden fees depending on what auction house you go through. And I mean that both as a buyer and a seller. Another point, auction houses in certain instances can be very hard to work with if you've never done business with them. That's why I always tell you guys, if you want to start getting involved as an investor on the high-end side of the antiques and collectibles trade, it pays to do a lot of business with some of these auction companies like Heritage or even Certified Link or even Hakes or Morphe's or Cowens. Set up an account, bid on certain items, make yourself known. Because if you are on the consigning end of dealing with these auction houses, if you already established yourself as a hardcore buyer, somebody who's not afraid to get in there and pay a good market value for something and pay the auction company immediately, when it goes to consign these items, they will remember that relationship and they will work with you. So I tried to do this video in under 30 minutes. We're actually at almost 31 minutes now. I hope you got something out of this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your feedback. If we need to do a part 2 of this particular video, if there's any talking points you need me to expand upon, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. And now, Jim Sean is ready to go take a shower so I can be shower fresh Sean. So have a good night, guys.